We all understand the type of climate that we're dealing with. We're dealing with multiple offer situations.
I'd love to know sort of what's your why? What makes you tick? Why are you so successful?
Have a dialogue with your lawyer. Have a dialogue with your agent.
Both sort of passionate about sort of what we do.
Again, vet your agent to make sure that they're experienced and they're local. I like that idea.
No excuse to miss it on Saturdays from 8 to 9.
That's right.
WBZ.
And now, the show that gives you the latest and most relevant housing market news. Real Estate Radio Boston with financial expert Rick Shearer and legal professional Ali Alavi.
So you're in 100 countries right now. Obviously, you see trends. Globally, you see trends. Are there any particular countries that you're pursuing now that you don't have a presence currently?
No, we've still got about 20 countries that we would look at, but there are certain countries that we won't even touch right now, such as Russia. The corruption is so awful there that I won't even let my teams travel there.
Right. Got it. Dave, you've experienced a number of different recessions, obviously, and 4 or 5, right?
Yeah, this is number 5.
All right. So I can ask you to take a look at your crystal ball and tell us, what do you predict for the housing over the course of the next 2 years, 3 years?
We're still recovering from what we went through. It's a slow and gradual recovery, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. There is so many factors that are pent up that is going to show long-term the next 5 or 10 years, other than the normal ebb and flow of recessions and boom times, that the long-term real estate is very sought-after commodity. We have all these YGens that graduated, came out and didn't have good jobs, that are living with their parents. They are starting to loosen up. Family formation, as in all recessions, absolutely collapsed, and it's almost back to pre-recession levels. So family formations, first they usually rent a property, but that pushes other renters out to buy. You have legal immigration of 1.1 million a year, and they buy very early when they come to the U.S. The illegal immigration problem, whether you're liberal or conservative, Republican or Democrat, is going to be solved.
Right.
There's no question. The National Association of Home Builders and the National Association of Realtors did a study about a year ago and said once the legal immigration is implemented and people have a path to citizenship, that would stimulate the real estate industry to the tune of $550 billion. That's with a B.
It's a big
over
number.
A 10-year time period.
How do you predict what's going on in China? I mean, obviously, right now we're seeing the Chinese real estate market is absolutely nuts. And do you consider that a bubble? And is there going to be a correction? And how is that going to impact our housing here in the U.S.?
Yes, their market's corrected probably 3 times in the last 10 years. Been pretty wild swings. The Chinese government is actually encouraging their wealthy individuals, let's say the 300 million that are middle class or more, to invest in real estate around the world. They feel that takes the pressure off of people who are buying and speculating in their own country and kind of releases that bubble slowly instead of exploding it. There's many people who want to get some assets out of their own country.
Sure.
Examples would be Brazil and Argentina, which are pretty unstable, growing economies, and they're good, but a lot of wealthy people are saying, I want assets someplace else.
For those who don't know about radon, tell us a little bit about what radon is and why they should be aware of it.
Absolutely. Radon, just to break it down very simply, is a radioactive gas. It's naturally occurring. Mm-hmm. When uranium, which is in bedrock and ledge, breaks down naturally, it emits radon gas, which if you inhale it in concentrated amounts over sustained periods of time, the EPA and CDC have determined can cause lung cancer. Number 2 only to cigarette smoking.
Wow.
In lung cancer deaths annually.
Second leading cause of lung cancer over smoking.
Correct.
That's crazy.
Something to point out if people are considering systems and or buying homes with existing systems, older systems, frequently fans were placed in the basement. That is a no-no. Contractors who were not following protocol, because it's easier, would stick the fans in the basement. They can leak. That's
Oh,
why
wow.
you don't think about that. You're creating, suction. You're pulling all the radon out. You think everything's going great. Well, if you have a leaky, attachment on your fan, 10 years old, you're pumping it right back into your house.
Right.
Fans have to be outside or above livable space in the attic.
Rick mentioned about the fact that his friend's radon levels were at 13. The acceptable radon level is
4.
4. And are you, if you have above a 4 limit, are you required to put a mitigation system, or is that just merely a recommendation?
In the state of Massachusetts, it is a recommendation. Radon is regulated at the state level, not the federal level. So there is not a blanket policy. So there is a lot of difference, actually, state to state.
Cost of a mitigation system?
Sure. Standard, midpoint for a single-family residential home, $1,200, $1,250, in that range.
And the cost when you get cancer from not having a mitigation system? A lot. A lot.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Boston with my dad, Rick Shearer, and Alia Lobby.
Thanks, Samantha.
Thank you so much. You're going to take my job over someday, I think. Good job, Samantha.
The genesis of us, you and I, putting the show together has always been to be able to bust myths.
Right.
And, disastrous news sells.
Yeah.
And I think propaganda is now essentially hanging their hat on the fact that, are we dealing with another housing bubble? We're not dealing with another housing bubble. The definition of housing bubble is that you are speculating that the housing prices will continue to rise, and it's based on that speculation that you make investments in real estate. Well, if that expectation, ultimately it will fail.
Right.
Because housing prices can't sustain this 13, 14, 15, 18% appreciation.
No, but what they can sustain is 3, 4, and 5%.
Exactly.
That's healthy growth.
Exactly. So when you see a comparison of the 13.8 to 4.6, you realize, well, there really is no housing bubble. The take-home message here is that don't listen to the media. There is no housing bubble, as best as we can tell, based on the data that we review. And so if you're an individual that's thinking about maybe upsizing, or if you're an individual that's thinking about you're currently renting and you want to purchase a property, I think the data supports that particular decision. And that is, you're going to leave money on the table over the course of the next 3 to 5 years. And you're gonna essentially rob yourself out of building wealth over the course of the next 5 years. And why would you want to pay somebody else's mortgage where you can pay your own and take advantage of the low rates now?
Yeah, because KCM came out with a pretty nice slide as well, and it shows the next 4 years a slow appreciation of property.
15%.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, and that's not 50% in 1 year. That's a gradual, 15% over the next couple of years. So yeah, I talk to clients all the time and go, well, I'm just going to save my money and I'm going to buy next September. Well, I mean, a few things we know. We know that the property is probably going to cost more next year. We also know that interest rates are on the climb. So it's kind of like two whammies against you. It's going to cost you more to buy the property, and it's going to cost you more to finance the property. So you might not be getting that 3-bedroom condo.